Okay, my dudes, I know that this is a horrible setup. I understand that. And hopefully y'all can just hear me. That's the main thing that I am going for. Now, of course, we're going to dive into everything here. We already have a subscriber coming out to the channel. But no, if you are new to the channel, I'm sure if you've seen a video before, you know that this is not our normal setup. We are literally moving across the country right now. I was not planning on recording. I was not planning on streaming or doing anything until the 25th. And I mean, we are in a spot where we actually got to Florida a little bit earlier. I was traveling from Austin to Tampa. And yeah, so we were going to make it a 2-day trip. And instead we drove 20 hours and I drove 20 hours straight, slept about 3 hours last night. And we are going to be moving into my place tomorrow, but I'm staying in my parents' place tonight because I can't move into my apartment until tomorrow. So I was hoping nothing was going to happen. And of course, something has to. Of course, we have to have some breaking news. I knew it was going to happen like this. So I really want to dive in. I really want to look at everything, talk with y'all about what y'all are thinking about the injury. Real quick, let me pull up the chat just to make sure that our microphone even is working right now because I had to set everything up. Y'all don't even know. I was looking like a madman running through the house, little sister trying to figure out what was going on. Oh my God. Yeah, but we're in the office right now for my parents. I can't even believe that I fit all the recording stuff in here. And of course it's a bad setup, but for the effort at the very minimum, make sure y'all are going down to dropping a like. We're going to be going over what we had with the Michael Thomas chapter in our 2021 draft guide. I'm going to be talking about where he was previously ranked. I'm going to be thinking about where we need to actually be moving him. But if you have yet to hear for whatever reason, okay, so sources say that Saints star wide receiver Michael Thomas is expected to miss the start of the 2021 season after undergoing surgery to repair the ligaments in his ankle in June. Based on the timing of the surgery and recommended 4 months of recovery, Thomas could be sidelined for weeks. And an easy rule to make when you're drafting in fantasy football leagues is you do not take a player that is injured going into the season. Because we have seen, I don't want to say 9 times out of 10, but 75% of the time, if we are told a certain timetable that a player will be ready by, almost never are they actually available at that date. And this sucks because Cam Akers, one of my favorite running backs this upcoming season. He was one of our number 1 targets at the late first round. We were aggressive on drafting him. And who was our other main target that we were having this offseason? Michael Thomas in the middle of the third. I was laughing at people that were taking Terry McLaurin over him early on in fantasy drafts. I was saying it was the dumbest mistake in fantasy. I was saying that Michael Thomas had league-breaking upside that we saw in 2019. And all of a sudden, those people that I want to call idiots for taking Terry McLaurin over Michael Thomas, they're laughing at me now. They are sitting here going, well, Mason, you don't know anything about this. But oh my God. Okay. So yeah, we're going to be talking about where we are dropping Michael Thomas. And like I said, guys, this broke about 20 minutes ago. So keep in mind that this is an initial reaction. So let's pull up a calendar real quick and see exactly when we would expect Michael Thomas is going to be coming back. What's going to be very notable is if he ends up landing on the PUP, because if that ends up happening, I think that Michael Thomas is someone, I don't want to say you can't draft him, but you can't draft him through the first 6-7 rounds of your fantasy draft. And keep in mind, guys, this is all initial reactions here. I'm going through and I'm looking at this as we go live. Okay, so so he had surgery in June, it said. And it said the timetable from June was going to be 4 months. Let's say that he had it mid-June. I don't see any dates on the exact date of whenever it was the surgery. Okay, so yeah, simply we have Ian Rappaport saying that the injury never recovered. Yeah, okay, so he had surgery in June. We don't know exactly when he actually had the surgery. So that's going to be big in trying to predict when he is going to come back. So I think to be conservative, let's say that he had this surgery June 15th, right? And they're telling us a recommended timetable is 4 months of recovery. So all of a sudden, we're looking at him coming back in mid-October. And if that's going to be the case, he may be coming back. He may be having to get practice reps in. He may be not even ready to go for the first few games. You're going to see him on the injury report. He's probably going to be getting limited in practice. So let's say that you get Michael Thomas surgery June 15th. let's say that he gets the recommended 4 months of recovery. He starts training. Let's just say 1 week at the minimum. He misses beyond that, because I think that's honestly just a safe timetable of us to try to estimate where we are going to be moving him in the rankings. And the great thing is today, since we got early and I don't have to move to the apartment until tomorrow, I'm going to be able to sit here and stare at this draft guide and make sure that we actually have it updated. And that draft guide is going to be out on the 25th with an updated Michael Thomas chapter, with an updated wide receiver, running back overall ranking set. Okay, so if he comes back, just call it October 24th. So October 24th is going to be the date that we are looking at. And keep in mind, I'm a monkey here doing this. We are just trying to talk through this out loud. We are just trying to figure this out. Let's pull up the Saints schedule and see what week you would actually have October 24th, that Sunday, being, and how long we are going to be finding. Okay, so it looks like, oh my God, we may not have service right now. Hopefully we're even live streaming, because I'm trying to look stuff up and it's saying we are not connected to a server. Okay, so NFL.com is messing us up. It looks like the chat is still going, so I'm assuming that we are still live. Like I said, guys, obviously this is a very, very bad setup. Maybe I should have turned the light on, but it is what it is. Okay, so NFL schedule. What I can also do, honestly, is I could probably just share my screen. Actually, no, I don't want to be sharing my screen and just showing the draft guide and showing the overall rankings. Probably not the best idea. Okay, so let's look up the schedule. I'm just trying to get an estimate on the amount of weeks that we could possibly expect him to miss. Okay, so if he's going to be back for October 25th, because that's a Monday night game against the Seattle Seahawks. He is going to be, just say, slated to miss 5 weeks. And I would call that, honestly, a conservative estimate. And at the same time, if he never recovered from this injury, are we going to assume that he's coming back and he's 100% right away? I don't think you can naturally assume that at all. So we pull up this Michael Thomas chapter, and this is exactly what I talk about. Let me read what I wrote about the 2020 season for Michael Thomas. Okay, so Michael Thomas suffered a high ankle sprain in week 1 of this season. This kept him out 9 weeks and eventually led to a compensation injury in week 14. Because of these 2 injuries, I want to completely throw this season out the window for Michael Thomas. He was clearly playing hurt in the limited action we got to see him in. So there's very little we can work with compared to what we had in 2019, where we know that in 2018 are the baseline for Michael Thomas. So we saw in 2020 that this is a player that was never able to overcome these injuries. And this is honestly something that I will say, this is probably my fault. I should have taken this more into consideration and not just naturally assuming that he's going to be 100% back and 100% good to go by 2020. So now if we are looking with this mindset and we are going, okay, Michael Thomas is a player that you're most likely missing the first month, 5 weeks, maybe even 6 weeks of the season. Just say he misses 4 to 5 weeks. The 6th week, he's kind of limited. You want to bench him. You want to make sure that he's going to be 100% good to go before you can put him in your starting lineup. How far does that move him down our overall rankings? Because we pull up our rankings right now, and I was aggressive on where we had Michael Thomas. I currently have Michael Thomas in the wide receiver rankings at wide receiver 9. I have him behind DK Metcalf, AJ Brown, Justin Jefferson, and I had Michael Thomas directly ahead of Keenan Allen, Allen Robinson, and Robert Woods. Now, I think to go beyond this, we are going to obviously be having to make adjustments. So if we are pulling up, trying to figure out exactly where we could be moving him, I think we go down automatically. I mean, the tier of guys like a T. Higgins, a Brandon Ayuk, a Cooper Kupp, honestly, I don't even think you can consider drafting him in that range, given the fact that those players could honestly, if Michael Thomas is limited, I don't want to say put up the same numbers, but it's not going to be a world difference in terms of their per game production. So if we're going through, and actually to make this lighting better, I can probably turn this laptop on right now. I'm sorry about the lighting, guys. Like I said, I mean, we were not planning on streaming. This is an emergency stream. If anything, drop a like for the effort here. Y'all have no idea how hard this was to even get all this stuff out of the boxes that were in the trucks and pull everything up here. Okay, but anyway, so if we're pulling up the wide receiver rankings, obviously he moves down to at least the wide receiver 24 tier, and I think at wide receiver 24, I don't even know if we can begin considering him, because at 23, we have Jamar Chase. At 22, we have Brandon Ayuk. You're having to take those players over Michael Thomas now, especially in best ball if you really need that full season of production. So now if we slide down a little bit further, so you have DJ Chark, who we are very high on. We're very high on the Jacksonville Jaguars wide receivers. I'm sure if any of y'all are on Patreon, y'all have already seen this by now. But right now, we actually have Laviska Shenault and DJ Chark as wide receiver 26 and 25. low end wide receiver 2s, high end wide receiver 3s. If we go to the mid wide receiver 3s, we have Kenny Golladay, Robbie Anderson, Odell Beckham Jr., Juju Smith-Schuster, Chase Claypool, Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy. I think that's honestly the tier that we may have to slide Michael Thomas into. I think Michael Thomas at this point, and this is an initial reaction, this happened 20 minutes ago. The only thing that we know at this point is Michael Thomas was never fully healthy last year. And on top of this, this is a player that is going to be missing the first, I want to say 4 to 5, maybe 6 weeks of the season. I'm going to be completely honest. If you're watching this as a video a week from now, I mean, we're going to have way more data on this. We're going to have way more injury information. We're going to have a better timetable on when we can expect Michael Thomas back. But an initial reaction, I think that we have to move Michael Thomas down from wide receiver 9 to about wide receiver 30. And if we look at where that would put him in the overall rankings, right now in the overall rankings, I was actually having him as one of our main targets at the beginning of the 3rd round. We had him ranked as the 26th player overall. And now if we slide him down, I think that Michael Thomas, if you're looking at that Odell Beckham Jr., Juju Smith-Schuster range, I think that all of a sudden Michael Thomas is a late 6th, early 7th round draft pick. But those are my initial thoughts. Let me pull up the chat real quick to see what y'all are saying, because I am sure that a lot of y'all have opinions as well. If we have anybody out here, I know this stream is probably so low quality that nobody is wanting to watch it. I just had to get it out. I was thinking about doing it as a Patreon podcast only, but I didn't want to do it. I felt like it was important enough for me to get all the crap out of the car, try to set some low quality stream up. So let me pull up the live control room real quick to see what y'all are saying, because maybe I'm completely off base here. Maybe I am just, like I said, I mean, this is an initial reaction. Okay, so if we pull this up right now, okay, if we go through, let's try to find, okay, Kyle says, why would you draft this early, bro? My man, because we live, eat, sleep fantasy football. I am literally going to be doing maybe 100 to 150 leagues this year that are all real money leagues. So of course we're going to have to draft this early. If I want to be in that many leagues, I'm not going to be able to do 100 drafts 2 weeks before the season. Okay, so I see that we just moved that screen. Let me put that back there. Sorry about that, my dudes. Okay, so let's go through. Okay, Jackson says, talk about how Tre'Quan Smith will be a wide receiver 1. Honestly, I know this is going to be crazy, but I don't think this helps Tre'Quan Smith that much. I think this actually most likely helps Alvin Kamara, because if you look at the two different players, Tre'Quan Smith is a vertical field stretching wide receiver that is always going to win off of efficiency. He can't win off of volume. We just saw this with Hollywood Brown. Hollywood Brown, a wide receiver, fits that same exact mold. I would argue that Hollywood Brown most likely more talented than Tre'Quan Smith. Now, the difference is with those wide receivers compared to a Michael Thomas, they really can't soak up that much more target volume, because the main role that they have on the offense is to take the top off, create space underneath. They're never going to be high profile players getting a ton of targets. Now, I mean, yes, you'll occasionally see that in the case of a Hollywood Brown last year. And those players, what they see when they see their target volume jump up is historically they see that efficiency kind of plummet, where unless their roles change in their respective offenses, I'm not that interested in Tre'Quan Smith. Now, I will say that, yes, in a best ball format, there you can take him. But in a regular season managed league, don't necessarily think that this helps him that much. Whereas on the other hand, I think Adam Troutman, someone that I haven't necessarily liked that much. Adam Troutman, someone that's going to be running routes closer to the line of scrimmage, someone that's going to be having a more utilized role in the red zone. This may help Adam Troutman significantly more given his average depth of target compared to Michael Thomas and compared to Tre'Quan Smith. Because the big thing here is Tre'Quan Smith, Michael Thomas, they're two completely different type of wide receivers. They almost don't even play the same position. Whereas I would say Adam Troutman going to be running routes in that same area of the field. I mean, maybe you could make the argument with Alvin Kamara. I really want to, just because I want Alvin Kamara to be the running back 1 this year. But reality, that's probably not the case. I would say that this hurts the overall offense because, I mean, they're going to be getting less first downs. They're going to be having less trips to the red zone. So it hurts the offense, helps Adam Troutman, doesn't necessarily impact Tre'Quan Smith that much. And if you don't necessarily believe me, look at what Tre'Quan Smith did last year. I mean, was he any better without Michael Thomas? Not necessarily, because he's a player that you're betting on volume. You're not necessarily betting on him to come out and be highly, you're betting on efficiency. You're not betting on volume. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just all over the place right now. So please let me know how y'all rank these wide receivers in the chat right now. Okay, so if we pull this up, let me go back, because I think Michael Thomas slides down to about wide receiver 30. So let me know how y'all rank Robbie Anderson, Kenny Golladay, Odell Beckham Jr., and Michael Thomas. That's going to be really interesting to get your opinion on that. Okay, okay, Kevin coming out with the donation. Thank you, my man. I saw you out in the premiere earlier today. And like I said, guys, I apologize again for this really bad setup. We'll be in the official studio tomorrow. I wasn't even planning on having the ability to reply to Patreon messages or anything today. We were supposed to break the drive into 2 different parts. And then we got halfway through and I was like, you know what, let's try to push through. We got here at like 2:45 a.m. I ended up waking up at 6 a.m. because that's what I'm used to. So yeah, it's been a rough day. Hopefully I can get ready to move and set up the studio tomorrow. I promise you this is going to be the only video that you ever see with this setup. But yeah, no, the studio tomorrow should be really, really nice. Okay, so now let me pull up the chat one more time to see what y'all are saying about where y'all are thinking. Okay, as far as says, Kamara low-key should be drafted number 2 now. I want to say it. It's so hard to get behind that, though. But the target volume with Alvin Kamara is going to be through the roof. I mean, he is going to be driving this offense. They're going to have no other option. Maybe this actually helps Taysom Hill a little bit as well. Okay, now that we really think about this, if you have a limited passing attack already, would it not make more sense to get Taysom Hill some more action compared to Jameis Winston? And I'm not talking about going out there and drafting Taysom Hill or Jameis Winston in a managed league. I'm not talking about that at all. This is more so for best ball. If I'm thinking out loud here, I think Jameis Winston now becomes a lot less appealing because I would imagine that a more optimal package for the New Orleans Saints would be utilizing Taysom Hill, because if they're one playmaker short, they want to make sure that their quarterback can go out there and can pick up rushing first downs and such. Okay, so if we go through, if we look at what y'all are saying in the chat, okay, so y'all are saying between those rankings, y'all want Golladay, Odell Beckham Jr., Michael Thomas, then Robbie Anderson. Then Hoodbine says Odell, Kenny, Robbie, Michael Thomas. Okay, so it looks like people are kind of all over the board with that. So I think that may actually be a good range to have Michael Thomas. Like I said, this is an initial reaction. I mean, very rarely are you seeing people come out here and go through this thought process on a live stream because it makes you very vulnerable. What's way better to do is wait about an hour, wait about 2 hours, see what other people are saying, see what other people are tweeting, then go out there and make a video on it. But no, I want to give y'all my initial reaction. I want to make sure that we can do as much as we can for everybody. Okay, so also, guys, if y'all have not, I mean, I wish I could try to explain to you how much effort went into this stream. Go down there, drop a like on it. Okay, so now, okay, and I think that honestly, maybe should we talk about anything else here? Maybe this kind of balances out the Cam Akers injury in terms of changing the running back and wide receiver landscape. And I will say, guys, I know that we had to postpone the draft guide to the 25th from the 20th, given the Cam Akers injury. And I wanted to reevaluate our overall rankings and how it was going to change the flow of the draft with the running back landscape. Well, this injury to Michael Thomas, it's not going to postpone it any longer. Like I said, I was not planning on being available at all today. I thought I was driving all day, moving across the country. We got here early, so I am going to be able to sit here. I'm going to be able to digest everything, hop in some real money drafts, see how this ends up shaking up, and then I'll be able to update those Patreon rankings for you tonight, both the overall rankings and the wide receiver rankings. And at the same time, I will still have the official 2021 draft guide out there on the 25th. Now, I will have to update those chapters, and I will have to get it over to the editor just slightly so she can go through, look at it, make sure I don't sound like a complete idiot. But yeah, also I see that we already passed 130 likes on the live stream. Thank you, my dudes. And yeah, let me know if y'all want to cover anything else here. Like I said, I am so sporadic right now that I could be missing out on a lot. Okay, Philip, subscribing to the channel. Thank you, my man. I'm sorry if I missed if anybody else subscribed. Okay, so I see a bunch of people hyping us up, telling us we're the best. No, thank you, my dudes. I promise y'all are literally by far and away the best fantasy football audience on YouTube. And I know we're just kind of stalling here to wait until we have another topic to talk about. But I mean, it's true. This is what I talk about all the time. If you look at our subscriber to view, our subscriber to like, or our view to like ratio, y'all drop likes, y'all drop comments on the videos and the live streams more than literally any other fantasy football audience on YouTube. And that's what's making us grow so fast, to be completely honest. If you look at the overall network with all the channels that we have, I think it's arguable that we are the fastest growing fantasy football channel on YouTube. And I see some people saying, show the dog. The dog is right out there. I don't know if we can go grab her, though. It would be, this setup right now, guys, has all the nicest equipment I own, and it's on pins and needles. I don't want to be bringing in a 100-pound dog in here to possibly mess some stuff up. Okay, so Donnie Brooks says he filled Kamara's points when he was on the field. I want Winston or I don't draft Kamara. Okay, that is interesting. I don't necessarily know how to take that. Corey says, is this a sell high time on Tre'Quan Smith? People will be clamoring to acquire him and Adam Troutman. Like I said, guys, I think that this is actually good for Adam Troutman. If you look at the average depth of target between the tight end and the wide receiver, Michael Thomas, they call him slant boy for a reason. I mean, this is someone that's not running routes vertical. I mean, he is going to be an elite wide receiver with his catch rate, and that's because he's running slants, he's running crossing routes, he's across the line of scrimmage, he's not going deep downfield. So this doesn't necessarily take away any competition for the field stretching role that Tre'Quan Smith will have. Tre'Quan Smith, you're betting on efficiency. You're betting that Jameis Winston's going to come in and he is going to be able to raise the average depth of target. He's going to be able to raise the yards per target for every player in the offense, where I think you're not going to want him with any more volume, because if you want him with any more volume, they're just going to keep two safeties back every single down. They're going to have no option against it, and they're really going to be able to shut down Tre'Quan Smith like that. Now, Adam Troutman, on the other hand, that's someone running routes closer to the line of scrimmage, and this is coming from someone that before this injury, I liked Tre'Quan Smith in best ball. I thought that the Adam Troutman draft price when he was going next to Cole Kmet was ridiculous. So I want to say that I'm not biased at all with this statement, because this hurts my own fantasy leagues. I was aggressive on Michael Thomas. I was aggressive on Tre'Quan Smith. I thought that Adam Troutman was very overrated, and now I'm coming out here and say this helps Adam Troutman. This helps Adam Troutman way more than it helps Tre'Quan Smith. Don't just think because Adam Troutman's a tight end and Tre'Quan Smith is a wide receiver that for whatever reason this helps Tre'Quan Smith more than it helps Adam Troutman. Tommy says, is it dark out? It's actually pretty light out. I don't know why, but I closed the shutters before we started streaming. I'm just used to having my regular streaming setup, and what we actually have is like the room has to be dark. I have to have lights in front of me, where I'm in front of a wall right now. So I thought if I turned on my computer brightness as high as it would go, actually I can keep on turning that up. Never mind. Okay, I guess we look so much better now. Oh my God, I am pissed at myself for not having it up that entire time. Okay, David says, you in Tampa now? Yes, sir. I got to Tampa late last night. And we haven't been able to move into my apartment, obviously. That's why I am sitting here waiting with my family until I can move in tomorrow. Okay, so Moon says, Mason, what should I trade away Michael Thomas for? I'm assuming that's a dynasty question. And I think today is, I don't want to say the worst time to trade away Michael Thomas, but it's a no bueno time to be trying to move Michael Thomas, my dude. I don't necessarily like that idea. Okay. So Jim says, what about Marquez Callaway? Marquez Callaway, someone that I haven't necessarily been on. I understand that in Dynasty as well as Best Ball, he has been getting some hype just because, the passing volume has to go somewhere in New Orleans. At the same time, I don't necessarily like the player profile. I don't necessarily think that we can sit here and completely ignore it, though, because we've seen with Jameis Winston that this is a quarterback that's going to provide so much value to the passing offense with really every weapon in there. So I guess the volume has to go somewhere. The targets have to go somewhere, as well as the passing yards. So possibly this helps Marquez Callaway. It's just hard for me to get behind him, especially because I'll be completely honest. I've gotten a lot of questions over the past few weeks about Marquez Callaway on Patreon. And every time I've gotten a question, I go, hey, don't worry about it. You don't need to know who Callaway is. Michael Thomas, Alvin Kamara, and Tre'Quan Smith are the guys going in this offense. Fade Adam Troutman at his price. Don't worry about Marquez Callaway. And this injury honestly changes that. And like I said, I can't be biased. I have to admit, I'm the first person to admit every single time when I'm wrong. I talk about it all the time that I'm an idiot. It's completely fair to say. Okay, Yield Fate says, sorry what happened. Catch me up in a single statement. Michael Thomas, he had surgery in June. He's going to be out 4 months due to the surgery. From that date, we don't know the date yet. We just know it's in June. And essentially, this says that he never fully recovered from his ankle injury last year. Okay, Charles says, what do you think is wrong with Ramondre Stevenson? I love Stevenson's value. I think if you look at Damian Harris, when Damian Harris was being cheaper in fantasy drafts last year, I actually really liked drafting him, thinking that he had a 3-down profile coming out of Alabama, and he was a sleeper to take a jump up in his second year. Now, he kind of took a jump up. He was very efficient. PFF liked his rushing grades, but he stepped into a Sony Michel role. He got no volume in the passing game whatsoever, which makes me not want to draft Damian Harris this upcoming season when he's a lot more expensive when we were getting him at a discount last year and thought he could be a 3-down running back. Now I think Stevenson, on the other hand, that's a running back that possibly can actually be a 3-down guy. And we see that he gets a 4th-round draft pick. Harris only has a 3rd, not necessarily a night and day difference there. And I think with Stevenson, maybe because he's the more recent pick, that this team kind of wants to start transitioning over to him. Mason saying, Mason, you've been killing it lately. So ready for this season. Thank you, my dude. Happy to see you out here yet again. Okay, Leonardo says, do you think this affects who is the starter in any way? Yes, sir. Like I already said, I think this honestly could skew the Saints and Sean Payton to possibly want to go a little bit more with Taysom Hill packages, because if your overall passing offense is going to take a dip, I mean, you want a rushing quarterback. You want another option in there who can use as a weapon. Okay, also, guys, if you have not dropped a like on the video, what are you doing? Go fix your life. Okay, Ryan says, thoughts on Tre'Quan Smith and Adam Troutman? Please, waivers are open right now, so I need to act quick. Man, add both. If you can actually make trades in your waiver wire or dynasty league, add both right now, and then go out there. I would try to sell Tre'Quan Smith. I would wait on Adam Troutman, because I think this definitely does help Troutman. I mean, Troutman does have a great profile. The reason I didn't like him is because, I mean, you looked, he had limited team investment compared to a player like Cole Kmet, who was going right next to him. And at the same time, Cole Kmet did something his rookie season, and he was in arguably a similar situation. Well, now, no. I mean, Michael Thomas going down, Allen Robinson still being up, makes Adam Troutman way more projectable to get volume. Okay, so now Gerald says, do you think that the Saints trade for a wide receiver? I think that if Drew Brees was playing one more year, like if this would have happened in the preseason of last year, I think the answer to that would be yes. But now I don't necessarily know how the Saints organization views themselves. I don't know if they want to be mortgaging future draft capital or really any resources at all when they don't know how the season's going to go. They don't know if they're going to be a contending roster with no Drew Brees and instead Jameis Winston. So I think it would be very risky, and maybe they do it, but I would be a little bit surprised if they go out there and they start mortgaging their future to go and try to trade for a wide receiver that, I mean, maybe they don't even think they're a win now team right now. And I can't, like I said, I'm a monkey, guys. I don't necessarily know what the Saints are thinking with their overall team actions. So please let me know what y'all are thinking. But I kind of figured that this was going to be kind of a testing the waters year for them, trying to see where they stand, what direction they should go. And I think, I mean, when you're testing the waters, not a great idea to be mortgaging future draft picks. Jack says, not sure if I missed this. What happens to Kamara's value? I want to say that this helps Kamara. I know that sounds so dumb, but with Alvin Kamara, I mean, he's someone that we know we are drafting him for his usage in the receiving game. He's getting targeted in this very similar area of the football field to Michael Thomas. I mean, I don't know how many more targets he can actually see. Maybe he sees a Christian McCaffrey level target share, but I don't necessarily know if he's actually going to get that same type of goal line usage. So you still can't draft Alvin Kamara over Christian McCaffrey, obviously, but in a full point PPR league, initial reaction says you may want to move up Alvin Kamara ahead of Dalvin Cook. That may be way too aggressive. I may be getting over my skis on that. I liked Alvin Kamara coming in, so I could be easily biased here, but that's my initial reaction. Yeah, Ryan said Kamara 101 ? No, CMC 101 every single day. I mean, I will say this real quick. I got a question. I've gotten this question a couple times on Patreon. People going, Mason, I actually got where I can pick my draft spot for this upcoming draft. Where should I be going? You go with the 101 every single time. You look at Christian McCaffrey. He is leaps and bounds better than any other asset. In our draft guide, you'll find that we literally only have one player in tier 1 across all positions, and that's Christian McCaffrey. And then you drop down to tier 2. Tier 2 is pretty big. I mean, the second smallest tier, I think, in the entire draft guide is probably like 5 or 6 players. And Christian McCaffrey is making up an entire tier by himself. Okay, so now let me go through real quick and see if we have any other questions that Gerald says maybe they trade a 7th for like Seth Williams. I like the Seth Williams profile. I like the call, my man. Maybe. But yeah, I think that should be it, guys. Please, if you watch this as a live stream, what I want you to do is go down, drop a like on the video. I'm ending the stream right now, and go leave a comment letting me know what you think about Michael Thomas, because what that will do is that will allow everybody else watching the video to kind of get a grasp on what the community thinks. And at the same time, it will jack us up in the YouTube algorithm if everybody goes down there and drops a comment. So if you want this channel to succeed, drop that like, go down there, leave a comment. And like I said, our dynasty rankings on Patreon, our 2021 fantasy football rankings on Patreon, and our draft guide on Patreon will all be updated by tonight. That draft guide will be out on the 25th. So yeah, thank you everybody for coming out. I am so surprised that this live stream was even able to get kicked off, and I'm very happy that I didn't just give up and say, oh well, it's because this is great. And yeah, that's all I got for you, my dudes, and have a great day.